Hello, I am Tarik Toros. Welcome to What's Happening in Turkey. We've just had whirlwind of a week filled with pressing questions. Today, we are going to seek answers. A massacre in Syria. Last week, the Middle East witnessed yet another atrocity. In Syria, reports surfaced of a massacre targeting Alawite civilians. Thousands were killed. Independent investigations have since confirmed the scale of the tragedy. Unfortunately, there was no good news from the region this week either. Despite mounting international pressure, the violence has not stopped. The United States has been urging the Syrian regime to act, but the damage is already done. Even as Syria's de facto leadership in Damascus issued statements, attacks on Alawite communities in Latakia and Tartus continued. Meanwhile, armed jihadist groups, allegedly backed by elements within the Syrian regime, uploaded hundreds of graphic videos online. These videos, independently verified, reveal the horrifying extent of the violence. As a result, questions are once again being raised about Syria's leadership and its role in the crisis. A political shakeup. Against this backdrop, a surprise meeting took place. On 10th of March, Syria's de facto president Ahmed al-Shara met with Kurdish leader Mazloum Abdi at a US military base near Damascus. Abdi is the head of the Syrian Democratic Forces, which controls much of northeastern Syria. The outcome? An 8-point agreement of intent between the SDF and the Damascus regime. The deal includes commitments to protect the rights of all ethnic and religious minorities in Syria, integrate infrastructure in SDF-controlled areas with Damascus, merge the SDF into the Syrian army. While this is just a framework agreement, negotiations could continue until the end of the year. The SDF, originally formed to combat ISIS, has enjoyed strong US support. Turkey, however, considers the SDF's core faction, the YPG, a terrorist group linked to the PKK. Yet, despite its long-standing opposition, Ankara welcomed the deal. On 11th of March, President Recep Tayyip Erdoğan stated, "We see every step toward clearing Syria of terrorism as a step in the right direction." He added that if the agreement is fully implemented, the Syrian people will be the winners. US Secretary of State Marco Rubio also expressed support, saying, "The United States welcomes the recently announced agreement between the Syrian interim authorities and the Syrian Democratic Forces to integrate the Northeast into a unified Syria." Turkish media gave the deal significant coverage. For the first time, Mazloum Abdi, once branded a terrorist, was now being described as a SDF commander. A dramatic shift in Turkey's stance. This sudden change in Ankara's rhetoric is striking. Take this example. Salih Muslim, the former co-leader of the Democratic Union Party, gave an interview on 14th of December to Nevşin Mengü, a well-known journalist based in Istanbul. After facing public backlash, Mengü removed the video from her YouTube channel. But it didn't end there. She was arrested and charged with promoting a terrorist group. Although she was later released under judicial control, she was ultimately sentenced to 1 year and 3 months in prison last month. Yet, just weeks later, Salih Muslim was back in the Turkish media, this time giving interviews to government-aligned outlets. Mengü reacted by saying, "I was sentenced to over a year in prison for doing the same interview before." Constitutional changes amid violence. Meanwhile, on 13th of March, Ahmed al-Shara signed a new constitutional declaration. This 53-article document serves as a temporary constitution for Syria. Key provisions include the requirement that the Syrian president must be Muslim, Islamic law remaining the primary source of legislation, retaining the country's official name Syrian Arab Republic, promises of judicial independence, women's rights, freedom of speech, and press freedom. But these promises rang hollow. On the same day, Alawite killings continued. Adding to the intrigue, high-level Turkish officials traveled to Damascus. Foreign Minister Hakan Fidan, Defense Minister Yaşar Güler, Intelligence Chef İbrahim Kalın. They met with Ahmed al-Shara, but no official statements followed. Yet one moment stood out: Fidan and Kalın warmly embraced al-Shara. This left little doubt. Throughout Syria's civil war, Ankara has trained, armed, and funded various factions in the region. A Turkish arms scandal. While Turkey's Syria policy continues to evolve, a shocking revelation about its role in another war emerged. On 9th of March, the Washington Post published an investigative report titled, "A Turkish Arms Firm Helped Fuel Sudan's Brutal Civil War, Documents Reveal." The report uncovered Turkey's involvement in the ongoing Sudanese civil war, which has killed over 150,000 people in just 22 months. The key findings: Baykar, Turkey's largest defense company, owned by President Erdoğan's son-in-law, Selçuk Bayraktar, provided drones and missiles used in Sudan. A secret shipment of Turkish-made weapons played a decisive role in the conflict. Leaked text messages and phone intercepts suggest Ankara was fully aware of the destruction caused by its arms sales. The Post verified its findings using trade records, satellite data, and financial documents. The UN has called the Sudanese war the world's worst humanitarian catastrophe. Yet this explosive story was completely ignored by Turkish media. Turkey's crackdown on independent journalism. In Turkey, even reporting on far less controversial topics can be dangerous. On 12th of March, Parliament passed a new cybersecurity law, giving authorities sweeping new powers. Police can now raid homes and offices and seize digital devices without a court order. The law sparked public outrage. Many were furious that opposition MPs didn't even show up for the vote. The closure of Gazete Duvar. The most shocking blow to independent media this week came on 12th of March, when Gazete Duvar, one of Turkey's leading digital news outlets, announced its shutdown. The reason? A Google algorithm change. Gazete Duvar, founded in 2016, relied on Google search traffic for ad revenue. In March 2024, Google altered its algorithm, deprioritizing news sites in search results. This affected independent media globally, but in Turkey, the impact was devastating. With revenue collapsing, Gazete Duvar had no choice but to close its doors. The message was clear. Independent journalism in Turkey is more fragile than ever. I am Tarik Toros, and you've been watching What's Happening in Turkey. See you next week.